Have out for you here is I do see a lot of you are being put in a positions where you're going to have to, stand up and center to do some type of public speaking engagements, and I feel a lot of it is coming through for you guys. They want to mention, be very, very careful about the nitty gritty details. So that means getting the facts straight and getting like a lot of technical details straight, okay? Because I feel like you're standing in front of a group of people and you're preaching something that you're an expert about. And I feel like someone's going to give you questions out of the left field and expect you to know. So if you don't know something, don't try to, I guess like breeze through it or coast through it, or don't try to wing it. Just say that, as for that second part of the question, I will do some research and I'll get back to you. I feel like that's the more diplomatic and that's probably like the clever way to handle that situation. Okay, so that's for those of you who are about to go through some type of speaking engagement. So just know the limits to your knowledge and acknowledge the limits. Okay, don't try to fib and don't try to get through it by coasting. What I'm also feeling is I feel some of you are going through a situation where you're with a person, and I feel there is emotional rift between you and another person. And I'm sensing that, there's somebody else outside of the relationship that is catching your attention. And you're thinking about ending the relationship, not because of the other person, but the other person's coming through, like the third party's coming through as a reminder to you that you're no longer in love with your current relationship, and you're estranged from one another. I feel like emotional estrangement, or even like a physical rift, or even a geographical distance between you and another person. Okay. So I do sense that coming through for a lot of you, where you are thinking about leaving one relationship so that you can go out and find the people that you love. And or at least you realize that you're estranged from your partner and it's no longer going to work. So I feel that you might breach the topic with your partner, and I feel that rather than giving you, okay, go ahead, let's file the paperwork, I feel that your partner is going to talk you through it, meaning that they might say, let's give it one last try, let's do this, let's do that. And I feel at that point you're just going through the motions. Okay. And then for others of you who might already have another person on the side, I don't feel as a Mr. or a Mrs. But I feel like you have your eyes on somebody new. And I do feel that the new person is serving as a huge temptation for you. And I feel like the new person, there's a lot of chemistry. There's a big sense of magnetism associated with that as well. So I do sense that coming through in a way where you want, you're expressing how you feel about that person, and you're giving them like, just you're exposing how you feel. You're being very, very, I guess, like expressive about your emotions and how you feel about them. And I do sense that the overall that looks really good. Okay. What I'm also feeling is, for some of you, there's this something that you've wanted for a really, really long time. And I know that I'm keeping this for some reason very relationship focused, because I'm getting a lot of that energy coming through with this spread. And I feel like there might have been a person you've been eyeing for quite some time. They feel to me like they're larger than life in your eyes. So that could be, they might be in a position of status, authority, power. They might be attached to another person, so be very careful. And I feel like you have secretly or silently, admire them from afar, or you might have loved them from afar. And you don't know, you don't know how to verbalize your feelings. You yourself might be attached to another person while you're eyeing or admiring another person. And so no one made a move. No one made a move, for the past few months. No one did anything about it. And I feel like this is the month in which things are being brought on the table. These discussions are being had. You are getting an opportunity to do something with another person. And I feel like you hold them in high regards. And this is somebody you've been eyeing for quite some time, okay? So Overall, I would say that's a good indicator. It looks good so far. So let's go over this spread here. First of all, we do have the Lovers as well as the Two of Wands. Now, both of these cards are relationship cards, okay? Heavy relationship cards. The Two of Wands is a partnership card. And the Two of Wands usually shows up, for me, in this deck as a long-distance relationship. There's either some type of like physical, geographical distance between you and another person, all right? And I definitely feel if you are in a long-distance relationship, it's, absence makes the heart grow fonder. But I also feel like as a Gemini, and most Geminis, the energy for the Gemini people overall is coming through. And now you're the sign of the twins. And a lot of you go through life with a very, very, I would say, idealistic sense of love and commitment, okay? Idealistic is not always bad. But what I'm getting here is this. I feel that you have somebody in your midst that you have a very strong, physical, emotional connection with. This is a very strong indicator of a karmic relationship as well. And the purple indicates, like heightened awareness to me, and the blue indicates spirituality. It indicates like an old soul. It indicates like almost like a soulmate connection where you both are meant to meet each other and to grow and to learn a lot from one another. So overall, it's a very, very good combination. But most soulmate connections and most karmic relationships tend to be a little bit difficult where, you have the male and the female, the dichotomy between our essence and their essence. So meaning that you both are very, very different. And I feel like it might even show up in a way where one person is really tall, the other person is very petite. Different races, I'm feeling that. Different family upbringings, different expectations out of relationships, and just very different viewpoints. Okay, that's what I'm sensing here. So when I mentioned that, the idealistic sense in a relationship, what I mean is that a lot of the times, like you get into, you idealize relationships. You feel that it's almost like you're born looking for your other half. That's what it feels like to me, because you're represented by the twins. So I feel like a part of you is always craving, missing that other part of yourself. So you go through you go through life automatically looking for, your missing part. And a lot of the times you might project, these very idealistic qualities onto your partner. And you want to be careful about doing that because they're not supposed, your partner's not supposed to be like you. I feel that we learn a lot from people who are opposite from us, and especially who do things differently from us. Otherwise, we don't really grow. Otherwise, the relationship stagnates as well. And if you're too similar, that can also be detrimental as well. So it's sort of like we grow through oppositions, right? Conflict and opposition helps us shape our character. Hardships build character, like they say. So I feel like you might aim for, in the past, like some of you might aim for relationships that were built on like harmony, on nicety. It was built on the facade. It was built on, like this veneer. But I feel that what your soul is really longing for is a relationship where you both can grow together as a unit. Okay, so I feel that if it sounds familiar, a lot of you are shedding these idealistic expectations. A lot of you are coming to this whole maturation process that, I do want a relationship that helps me grow. And if you're stagnating in your current relationship, you're not going to grow anymore, okay? And I know that's a very long-winded, kind of tangential message, but I'm getting a lot of messages with this card, and it's basically your card, your representation coming out in the very, very beginning of the spread. And another sense that idealism can play out here is absence makes the heart grow fonder. So I feel like You might be with somebody and the magnetic attraction is very, very great, but then it's so hard for you to work together as a unit. And as a result of it, you break up. And then once you break up, you start missing them, and then vice versa. You could be dealing with somebody like this who's like, a little bit kind of, I feel like they emotionally a little bit stunted, okay? So like when you're there, they don't miss you, but when you're gone, they keep trying to reel you back in. So I feel that your expectations of what you want a relationship and versus the reality of the relationships that you keep finding yourselves in, these things need to match up, right? So going through a process of reexamination is going to be important for you, because I feel like you need to break these habits or these tendencies to, want one thing, but then it's sort of like looking for love in the wrong people, in the wrong places. So just be careful about that, okay? Now, going back to these two cards um, as an energy that I'm getting, it's sort of like, wanting, longing for this perfect, idealistic union with another person. And we can get a little bit too tunnel vision, a little bit too fixated. Okay. And then on the other hand, I feel like a lot of you might be in a long distance relationship, mainly because the Two of Wands indicates it's a relationship card, but there's only one person depicted in the spread, and they're longing, they're looking at the world, and they're, wanting that opportunity to reunite with their other half. So I feel like a lot of you are starting out this month feeling very hopeful and possibly very in love. But I'm going to do your love reading in a little bit. This is what I'm sensing, okay? Some of you might be in a work type of a business partnership too. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of talks about where this relationship or this work partnership is going. There's going to be discussions to balance out the responsibilities, such as, who needs to do what. And I feel like innately there are some imbalances here. It seems as if you might be in a relationship or in a work committed partnership, and one person seems to be doing all the work, and there are going to be some grievances that comes up for this month, and you might need to like physically sit down and have a conversation with another person, okay? So that's coming through. The next two cards indicate here is the Emperor and the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups, first of all, this is a wish card, and the Nine of Cups indicates like a state of emotional fulfillment, okay? So something that you've been longing for, that you've been eyeing, is basically made available to you. It's on the offing for you, and the opportunity is going to be really great. I feel for a lot of you, you might have wanted a job that involves a lot of travel, because I'm getting the energy of the world, the globe here, and it came up twice already. First with the Two of Wands here, the world, and then second with the Emperor. And then others of you, you might be, I feel like you might see somebody, somebody in your environment that you really, really admire, like a person in a position of authority that you really look up to. And I definitely feel there's going to be some breakthrough where you get to talk to them. It can be a romantic partner or somebody that you're crushing on, or it just can be somebody in a position of authority. So you might be invited to some functions, like some dinner, something where food and wine, I feel it's like overflowing. And you're going to be in the presence of really, really renowned people, and they're going to give you like quite a lot of good insights, okay? So I do sense that coming through. And on the other hand, for others of you, I feel like it can play out in this way, in which if you've been eyeing for something, you've been working really, really like hard on to procure a client, to secure a job. I definitely feel a lot of blessings coming through. Due to your diligence and your hard work and your power of persuasion, you might be thrust into a position of authority as well. So this means, landing that corner office, somebody giving you some perk at work, such as that really beautiful office, such as landing a new assistant, such as like getting some type of, I feel like approval and recognition, but it's very like off the books, you know. So like a promotion, for example, is something that is getting recognition on the books. However, this is more like getting some type of approval or something like that, off the book. Okay, it still makes you feel really good because you're not one to care about, you know, the spotlight so much. You do your work, but I feel like you're getting some type of off the books praise, recognition. And I do feel for a lot of you, it's on the professional front where you are handed projects. For others, I do sense like you're talking, you're giving a speech or something like that in front of a group of people. So you're thrust in the limelight and you might have to think on the spot. You might be making a toast at a wedding, but I feel more like a speaking engagement where you're receiving something, possibly like a diploma, possibly like a trophy or something like that, where someone who is very, very knowledgeable in their field is giving you recognition for something as well. And that can also be public, okay? The next two cards that are here is the Eight of Cups as well as the Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands, let's talk about this first. This is shown up here as a fire sign. So a Sagittarius, a Leo, or an Aries. Let me see other indicators here. So Sagittarius, Leo, or an Aries. What I do feel with this Queen of Wands here is for some of you, this can be male or female, Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries. This is somebody that you might be romantically involved with, or it's somebody that you could be married to, but I do, or in a business partnership with, okay? And I feel almost as if the relationship, if it's personal or if it's business, it seems to me like it's very, very unbalanced for some reason, okay? I feel like it's there's a lot of luck coming through. They might be a catalyst for you to make a lot of money, or they might, you know, as a couple, the image, you know, the public image, it seems really, really good. I feel that way. Like you both like look really good together, or you both like complement each other really well. But I feel the emotional aspect within this relationship, I feel like it might be lacking, and you might not have like a common vision. And I feel like there might be a sense of emotional estrangement within this relationship, okay? Which brings me to the next card, and I feel like they're a very nurturing, caring person overall. But I feel like, you know, if you're an air sign and they're a fire sign, it's a really dynamic relationship. It can be really good as professional contacts and as in a professional way. But in terms of like getting to the root of the emotional state, I feel like the emotions might be lacking. Which brings us to the next card, which is the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups is a situation that we have invested a lot of our time, resources, and energy, and also a lot of our emotions in. And in this situation with the Eight of Cups, it indicates like removing ourselves from a situation that is no longer emotionally satisfying or fulfilling for us, in order to chart out new territory, in order to find something else, okay? I feel like a lot of you are following your heart, following your intuition, and you're at a point where you can't lie to yourself anymore. You can't just say, you can't go through the motions anymore and just say, oh, this job is, you know, average. I'm just gonna do it for another 5 months or whatever. I feel like you're at that state where you want that emotional fulfillment. You want to feel, you want your other half almost. It feels like you feel kind of incomplete in some ways and on the emotional front, and you're going to have to like venture out into the world in order to find something new, or in order to find whatever it is, okay? I also feel for some of you, you might have been dwelling, if you're single, you might have been dwelling on a situation, like a secret crush, unrequited love, or something like that. I see that, and I feel like you are no longer keeping yourself hostage. You're going to venture forth and find your own happiness, find the person that is meant for you, because you are coming to the realization that whoever that you were dwelling on, it wasn't the right person because they never came forward, okay? So it seems to me like a lot of regret and a lot of disappointment associated with this card as well. Now, he's heading in this direction towards where the moon is lit, right? And that brings us to the next card here with the moon. So the moon indicates a situation that didn't have very much closure for you. The moon is a really foggy, wavy type of a card. It can indicate spiritual, like psychic abilities, spiritual enhancements in spirituality, our intuition, kind of being heightened for this month overall. But in this spread, what I'm getting here is that a lot of you are in a situation where you just didn't have all the answers, and you stayed and stayed and stayed around waiting for that, major awakening to come through, major breakthrough to come through. And I feel like you kept yourself hostage at this, anticlimactic, in this anticlimactic situation, and you weren't progressing anywhere. And you felt right now for this month, you feel as if you've kept yourself back. You've kept yourself from achieving your soul's desire from your true love. So this could even mean, being in a work environment where people verbally, they say that, oh, you did a really good job, but they never gave you a raise. They never publicly acknowledged you. Does that make sense? So I feel like they gave you enough. They fed you scraps and things like that. And they gave you, praises. But the work that you're doing, I feel like you might not have been, you feel like you went through the motions, but it wasn't enough, okay? And you wanted, that pay increase. You wanted, they promised you the world and they didn't deliver. And then others dwelling on a past partner who might have flirted with you, but, never followed through. But I feel like there's some sense of like major awakening where you might realize that I need to move on and I need to find something better for me, and I need to take better care of myself, and I need to keep my vision clearer, and I need to not settle. So I definitely see you kind of like taking charge of your life. The energy that you're bringing to the table is actually very, very like fiery for this month, where you are less tolerant with people and who are all about the talk and they have no actions to follow up with. Okay, so I feel like you're not as tolerant of this as other months. That's what I'm sensing. So with this moon card, it's going back to what I mentioned earlier about a situation that was a little bit fuzzy. You couldn't let it go because you didn't have the closure. You didn't have the full picture. You didn't get any type of concrete evidence, but you know that you can't really hang on to it anymore, mainly because you were racking your brains trying to figure it out, and it exhausted you. So I feel like you released. And I feel in the process of releasing, if you have already released it beginning of the month, you're going to come across some vital information that will give you, bits and pieces that you can put together to form that big picture that you've been wanting. You might have told yourself that, I just want to get closure and clarity. I just want clarity so I can move on. If I get the clarity that I need, then I can totally move on. And I feel like that's what's going to happen for you guys this month. It's linked up here with the Temperance card, and the Temperance card deals with moderation. It deals with like doing things in a very systematic manner, in a very careful manner. Okay, so it means like weighing things out, weighing out your options very, very carefully and very, very methodically. It's also about not jumping the gun. It's also about like not overindulging. Okay, so I feel for some of you, you might be dealing with some disappointment in the past. And when this card comes out, it basically means, self-care, taking care of yourself, respecting your body, and be very careful about what you ingest and what you put into your body, okay? So the Moon card with the Temperance card. And this is something, this is a complaint that I've gotten over the past few months about, whenever I do a reading for Geminis, I do see a lot of drinking. Okay, I do see that for the past 3 months, and it does worry me. But I don't change the messages that come out. I just relay the information. So this is something that I'm seeing once again. The Moon is also a card about mild depression. The Temperance card deals with, overindulging in drinking. So I'm sensing that for some of you, you might be dealing with this situation where it's like mild depression. Your emotional state is very, very up and down. Now, the Gemini symbol is the twins, and there's a lot of that energy about split personality. What you feel versus what you do in real life don't line up. Okay, so on the one hand, you might say that I need closure so that I can move on, and then when the closure comes, you regress or you backtrack. So be very, very careful about the tendency to be careful what you wish for, and when your wishes, or when your whatever you wish for comes to fruition, you need to follow through on your end. So for example, if you say that I just want some closure, I want some clarity, I want the big picture, and when you finally get the big picture, how are you going to react? How are you going to deal with this information? You need to follow through on your end of the bargain. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so that's what I'm feeling here with this spread. Now, in terms of your advice, we do have some things here. One of the things that I'm sensing very, very strongly here is that a lot of you need to, figure out what it is that your soul is really searching for, okay? Because I feel a little bit of losing a sense of direction, losing your footing, trying to test out different waters, and trying to find that perfect fit for yourself. This is professionally, this is emotionally, this is pertaining to, where do I want to live? So the energy here is very, very up in the air. It's very uncertain, but the uncertainty is not always bad. People, I feel like a lot of you might be frustrated with the uncertainty, but the way that I'm looking at it, uncertainty is actually a very exciting time in life. So one of the things that they want to emphasize here is that don't look at what other people are doing. This is kind of like looking on to a specific situation. Don't look at what other people are doing. Find something that is unique to you. Find something that makes you really, really happy. And find something that taps into your skills, that utilizes, all that you have to offer. Not just, don't just get a job. Like, for example, if you graduated as a computer science major, find a job. You want to, get out into the world and find a job that is computer science related, and you feel like that's it. I feel that, as a holistic person, you want something that is creatively you and that is unique to you. So maybe there are other jobs where you can utilize your computer science degree, but doing something completely different. Rather than working with computers, you might do something different. You might do teaching, for example. So find something that is unique to you, and don't compare yourself to what your peers or the people in your environment are doing. Because I feel like that whole process, can give us a false sense of security when we are looking at somebody who's really, really successful and we emulate in their footsteps. At the end of that journey, you're going to realize that, you wasted time doing something, replicating something. It has already been done before, but realize that it might not be for you. So a lot of you are kind of drifting when it comes to, temperature taking regarding your career, your relationships, and, figuring out where you want to be geographically. That's what I'm sensing. So in terms of your advice, we have here the devil, which indicates temptation. Once again, it indicates overindulgence, drinking and smoking, and being addicted to things. A lot of the time, this can be an addiction to a person as well. What I'm feeling here is a lot of you are dwelling on a situation. You waited, and there's this emotional up and down. Like when they call, you're on top of the world. When they're not there, your world is kind of like flopping. So don't measure or don't tie your emotional state in with another person. Does that make sense? So it means like don't peg your emotional state, your emotional happiness on another person, and especially don't rely on them to bring you that emotional high. Okay, you have to be stable within yourself. So this is coming in as a reminder that there is something in your environment that you are heavily dependent upon that might not be good for you. So whatever it is that you're depending on that situation for, be it the rush, be it that emotional roller coaster, that emotional high, you want to reassess. And I feel like it can be, damaging for you long term emotionally or even physically. So even like if you've been drinking a lot, or if you've been putting a lot of stress and strain on your body and not exerting any type of moderation, then I feel like you're going to start to feel the wear and tear, and you're going to start to feel it, okay? So just be careful about this, all right, Geminis? The second card coming through is the Four of Wands. And the Four of Wands is a situation that deals with the home. It's a marriage situation. It's also a situation where I feel like a relationship is being taken to the next level, okay? So first of all, I do feel that somebody is being granted a title here with the Empress. And this can also indicate like pregnancy, fertility. That's coming in very strongly with this spread. So be careful about that, okay? Especially, yeah, just be careful about that. Like, if you're not planning for it, and especially for those of you who are trying, the energy is very, very good. Where we have the Four of Wands, which indicates a stable home life, and we have the Empress, which indicates like a very, very strong, maternal figure. What I'm also getting is for some of you, you honestly might be lusting after somebody who is already in a committed relationship. Whether or not they're happy, that's not, that doesn't even matter. So whether or not they're happy in a relationship, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even factor into the equation. If you know somebody is, involved, you leave them alone, because that can create a lot of energy interference from your end or for you, and that can also disrupt somebody else's karmic relationship. Okay, so karma is between people, and if it's not you, then you want to remove yourself from it, because it can create a lot of, I would say, like a lot of energy interference where you might not get the things that you want in your life. Okay, so just be careful about that. So I do feel a very, very heavy energy here of lusting after somebody who might not be available. I do see some temptation, and I do feel like others of you, I do see trying on a wedding dress. So you might have been you might have been proposed to, and this is the month in which, the wedding takes place. I do see some nice venues, and I do see like very extravagant dresses and venues that are decorated and things like that. So I do sense some of you might be getting married, might be like transitioning, changing your names, okay? So a lot of good energies coming through on the relationship front as well. So let me just see what's going on for you guys for love and relationships. So let me show you what's going on for Gemini. So sorry for the interruption. Let's go into your love and relationships for this month, Geminis. So Gemini's love and relationships. Okay, so let's go into your reading here with the love reading. So the center of the spread is basically the situation right now, the current circumstances. First of all, we do have the Magician, and it's linked up here with the Two of Coins. I feel like a lot of you are coming into this month being single. You have ended a relationship from the past, and you are starting like the single life where you are going out, having fun, being dine and wine or dining and wining another person. So I do feel that, you know, in terms of your power of attraction and your ability to engage with other people in conversation, in dating, in any type of adventure, your ability to attract others. Others are pretty much, you know, coming to you, okay? What's also linked up here is the Two of Coins. And the Two of Coins is a situation where your emotional state, I feel, is still a little bit erratic, okay? I feel like you have ended a really significant relationship that might have been very, very tumultuous in the past. And you're starting the single life. And even though on the surface, it feels to me as if a lot of you are okay with being single as well. You're not really, you know, going out actively seeking the right person, but you're making yourselves known. You're putting yourself out there. You want to be in a relationship. And I do feel like you have some options that you might be juggling, honestly, okay? So you have some options that you might just be weighing the pros and cons about. I don't feel like you're cheating so much, but I do feel there's an element here about somebody like juggling two options. Should I or shouldn't I? Should I go with this or should I take that at face value? So there's this back and forth coming through. What's also coming through is in the foundation here is the Tower. And the Tower is a relationship that has basically fallen apart or dismantled, mainly because it was built on a faulty foundation. I do feel a lot of you are in a situation where you have a karmic connection or a soulmate connection with another person. And this is the Six of Cups here, that's the soulmate card. A lot of you might be involved with somebody right now where you feel, and you can't shake the memory of the previous person. So you're doing a lot of compare and contrast between the new person and the old person. And I do feel there's some problems coming through in that manner, okay? And then others, you're trying to get out there, live your life, and you have an ex trying to come back in. The Six of Cups usually indicates a blast from the past, but in this regards, when it's linked up with the Tower card as well as the Conflict card, the Five of Wands, it basically means that you might be financially linked up with them. Excuse me. You might be financially linked up with them and it's hard for you to move forward. You might have joint property, joint assets with them. And as a result of it, you can't really, you know, cleanly break away, okay? And then for others of you, you might have found out, you know, like that somebody you were seeing that you had a very strong relationship with was seeing somebody else and you didn't get the closure that you need in order to forget them. So I definitely feel some conflict brewing as it pertains pertains to somebody from your past, some type of confrontation, conflict happening, okay? And obviously, this is not going to apply to all of you, but I do feel a karmic relationship. It has fallen apart, possibly in need, and you're coming back wanting closure, or the other person is trying to win you back. It's saying all these things, apologies and all of those things. And your emotional state for this month, Gemini, I feel a lot of like up and down, so just be careful about it, okay? Just be careful about that. Stabilize yourself. Exercise is a really, really good way to not ruminate over things, and as an air sign, I feel like exercise would be really, really good for you, because it gets rid of that excess mental energy, okay? Where you think things over and over and over again. When you're focused and you're physically exerting a lot of energy, it helps you think clearly. So that's my recommendation for this month. The treadmill comes to mind, swimming, elliptical, whatever it is, even weightlifting, doing something a little bit strenuous, it's going to help calm that mental energy down, because I feel like your emotional state is dictated by your mental state, mainly because you have a habit of ruminating, okay? So just be careful with that. Now, in the past position, we have the Page of Swords as well as the Knight of Wands. I feel like with this energy, it can be a situation where you're not compatible with another person, or there might have been some type of inflammatory news, okay, is what I'm feeling. A lot of you might be dealing with this with another fire sign, or I'm sorry, another air sign, so Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, or a fire sign, which is Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries. I feel some inflammatory news that came in the past, and you're itching for battle. I feel like you're upset. So that's what I feel came through for a lot of you guys in the past position. Now, what's crowning the reading? And the crowning energy is basically the situation on which this thing is built. Once again, we have the Two of Wands. And the Two of Wands in this deck, it signifies, wanting to make a clean break, wanting to extract yourself. And at the same time, wanting to go out into the world, find out what it's about, okay? So, especially for those of you who are in in relationships right now, I feel like you're being tempted from your environment. You want to try something else. You feel like the relationship, it's okay, but it's not like the ideal thing, and you might be wanting to venture out, okay? What's also coming through, especially for those of you who are single, we have the World. And the World means like an introduction. You're being like surrounded by a lot of people from all walks of life, from all religious persuasion, for example, from all ethnicities, from the environment that you're dabbling in, the field that you're thinking about. I feel like you're dealing with a lot of people who might be very, very educated, very philosophical, very different from you in like the way that they live, the way that you live, the way that they think, the way you think. So I feel an element of foreign energy associated with this, okay? Because this is in your crowning energy, the thing that you're thinking about. A lot of you might be in a position where you just want to if you are kind of like in a relationship right now and it's been stagnant, I want you to just be careful, pay attention to your partner. And especially if you feel this emotional rift, this emotional divide between you and another person, you want to be careful about that, okay? And try to mend these rifts, because over time, the gap might be too wide and it's hard to backtrack. So do some damage control when it comes to relationships and try to fix it if you can, okay? Others of you, you might be interested in meeting people who are different from you, so different walks of life, or you might be attracted to those types of people for this month, okay? In terms of what's coming through for you, and this is basically in the future position, we have the Two of Swords as well as the Chariot. The Two of Swords is a situation where I feel like a lot of you have left a relationship because you're single and because you've been kind of burned in the past. You might be in a position where you're a little bit guarded, okay? So the Two of Swords indicates indecisiveness. You might be juggling two options, possibly an air sign and a fire sign. So you don't know how to proceed, okay? And then others of you, you might have been burned in the past. You just want to have fun. I feel like you just want, a lot of you are itching for like this element of taboo or a little bit of danger in, or a little bit of unconventional energy in your love relationships. So you're going for a different type, or you're going for like, you know, flings, or you're going for like very, very, very short term relationships rather than a committed relationships. But either way, you're very, very self-protective, and you're not letting people get close to you. And I do feel a lot of it has to do with the fact that you don't want a heavy emotional relationship, because I feel a lot of you have been burned. And as a result of it, we do have the Chariot here. And the Chariot basically means that the other person wants to progress with you, okay? And especially so, they want to progress with you. They want to move things forward with you. And I feel like you might be working at cross purposes with them, okay? So you're very much like blocked, and they're very much like clear about what they want. So I feel like, you know, offers for to move things to the next level, I feel like you're taking your extra time, like sweet time, deciding on moving a relationship further, because you really want to just you just want to play the field. I almost feel that. What I'm also sensing is overall, something is telling you to let your guard down, because you're with somebody that is actually very good for you. A lot of you, there might be a partner or a prospective partner coming through with an offer for a trip, a voyage, to go somewhere, to do something very exciting. And I'm sensing like you're just like thrown aback. You know, you're very caught off guard, and you don't know what to do. So I feel like for the first, it might take you like 5 days. It might take you a week to make this decision, because I feel like this is a major decision. It's kind of like somebody coming through and asking you to take a trip with them. And you know that once you take a trip with them, that the relationship might escalate to the next level, or they might push things for the next level. So you're kind of like not really sure what you should do. I do feel that it's going to be very good for you. I do sense that. I do see a lot of attraction with possibly another air sign. I do sense air sign and water sign as the potentially good, better choices, options. So air signs, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, and water sign, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. All right. So I hope the reading has been helpful for you guys, Geminis. I apologize if it sounds, you know, like the monthly reading. I'm just going to relay the message that they come in. I'm not going to try to fix the reading, okay? So I do wish you all the best. If you'd like a private reading, please contact me at temperatestar@gmail.com, or you can visit my website where you can book an appointment for yourself. I've also included a donation link and in the description box of this video. So